Welcome. My name is Joseph, and what I'm going to do in this video is teach you what you need to know to improve your TOEFL score. Now, the TOEFL is composed of 4 sections: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. What we're going to do today is we're going to focus on the speaking section. And in this speaking section, you have 6 questions, 1 through 6. What we're going to do now is we're going to focus on the most difficult question and how you can improve your score on it. And that question is the last one, question number 6. In question 6, you're going to hear a lecture. And the lecture is going to last 1.5 minutes to about 2.5 minutes. It's a pretty difficult question, so this lecture isn't going to be easy, but you're going to learn exactly what to expect in a little bit. Anyway, once you're finished listening to the lecture, you're going to hear a question. And the question is just going to ask you, what did you hear in the lecture? So pretty simple. You don't really have to worry about it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to be given 20 seconds to prepare your response to the question. So right after you hear the question, you're going to get 20 seconds to prepare. And once your 20 seconds are up, the computer is going to begin recording you. And it's going to record you for 60 seconds. So you're going to have 60 seconds to respond to that question. And if you look, your lecture is about 2 minutes. And you have to say information for 60 seconds. So you have plenty to work with. It's hard, but it's very doable. Now, what's the structure of the lecture you're going to hear in question number 6? Just think of question number 6 as a 3-paragraph essay being read out loud to you. And each paragraph has a specific purpose. The first paragraph is meant to introduce you to a big topic about, let's say, psychology or biology. After they talk about that topic, they're going to give you a general definition of it. So that's what you can expect in the first 30 seconds. So you know that now. The second paragraph introduces a subtopic, another piece of information related to the general topic we learned about earlier. Now, when they describe the subtopic, the important point to realize is they're going to define it generally. And then after they do that, they're going to give a descriptive example to illustrate that a little better, make it a little clearer. So that's another 40-45 seconds. So now we have about 1 minute. In the last part of the lecture, you're going to hear the third paragraph being read out loud to you. And in the third paragraph, they're going to discuss a second subtopic. Now what they're going to do is the exact same thing. Give you a general definition and then an example to illustrate it. So that's exactly what you're going to hear. Now this is kind of general, maybe it's not so clear. So what we're going to do next is we're going to listen to an example. A lecture that you can expect to hear on the TOEFL. It's the same length, same level of difficulty, same kind of vocabulary, so it's really good practice.
Now, listen to a discussion in a biology class. The professor is discussing thermoregulation.
In nature, warm-blooded animals, such as mammals and birds, need to keep their internal temperatures within a certain range. For most mammals, this range is from about 36 to 38 degrees Celsius. Thermoregulation is responsible for maintaining this internal temperature, regardless of whether the surrounding environment is much colder or warmer. Today, we'll discuss 2 important forms of thermoregulation that animals use to keep their internal body temperatures constant. One form results from the insulating power of fat. When the temperature of the environment is colder than the animal's internal temperature, the animal must counteract heat loss, that is, internal heat lost to the external environment. Most animals help prevent this heat loss by having a layer of fat present underneath the skin. This layer of fat prevents too much heat from escaping into the environment, helping to maintain the animal's internal body temperature. For example, marine animals, such as whales, have a very thick layer of insulation fat called blubber just underneath the skin. This blubber insulation is so effective that these marine mammals maintain body core temperatures of about 36 to 38 degrees Celsius, even when surrounded by much colder waters. Another form of thermoregulation is evaporative cooling. When the external temperature is higher than the animal's desired internal temperature, the animal uses this form of thermoregulation to battle against too much heat gained from its surrounding environment. They prevent overheating through the use of evaporative cooling. You see, when water evaporates from a surface, the surface is cooled. For example, rodents need to keep an internal body temperature close to 40 degrees Celsius, and at times their surrounding environment can reach temperatures of up to 50 degrees. When this happens, rodents will begin licking themselves and spreading their saliva across their bodies. As saliva evaporates, the rodents are cooled, helping to keep their internal body temperatures constant.
Using points and examples from the talk, explain the two types of thermoregulation presented by the professor.
Alright, so we just heard the lecture. Now the lecture was probably a little difficult, but I hope with the way that we understand the lecture now, we were able to get some good basic notes. The important thing to realize is that from that 1.5 to 2 minute lecture, we only needed about 5 words to be able to deliver a good response for question number 6. So what were those 5 words? Well, the first thing we should have heard about was thermoregulation. That was the topic. Then we heard the first subtopic, which was fat, a kind of thermoregulation that animals use. What example did they use to describe this? The example was about whales. Then after that, we heard the second subtopic. What was that? Evaporative cooling. So if you don't know what evaporation means, it's just when a liquid goes to gas form. Like when you drop water on the floor, over time it goes to vapor. That's evaporation. So the second subtopic was evaporative cooling. What example did they give to illustrate this? Rodents. There's a lot of description, a lot of information we heard, but all we need are these 5 words to get a basic score. If you can add more details to this, that's great. That means you're going to get a better score. Now, after you hear the lecture and have taken your notes, we know we're going to hear a question. Now this question is just going to say something like, what was the lecture about? What did the lecture describe? They'll give you some kind of keywords, but basically all you have to do is tell the author, tell the grader this information. So how do you do that? You use a few key phrases to guarantee that you deliver your response with a good structure. So here's an example of the answer that you would give. In this lecture, the professor talks about thermoregulation. He describes 2 ways that animals control their internal temperature. The first way is through fat. The professor gives an example to illustrate this about whales. The second kind of way that an animal controls its internal temperature is through evaporative cooling. The professor gives an example to illustrate this about rodents. So that was kind of long phrases, but it delivered a good response with only 5 words from our notes. Good actual phrases that showed a good structure. So that means we're going to get a fairly decent score. Now if you can add more details like the definition, more information about the examples, then you're going to get an even higher score. Done. We learned the important information we need to know about question number 6. We know what to do, what to expect, how to prepare, all that good stuff. I know that you feel a little more comfortable with the question and you're prepared to get a higher score. So now the question I want to ask you is, do you want to learn even more to help you get an even higher score? Well, all the information I presented to you here in this video, you can find on my website for question number 3 of the speaking and for question number 2 of the writing, all for free. So if you visit notefull.com, N-O-T-E-F-U-L-L, you can go ahead and click on free TOEFL practice. It'll be easy to see. And in that free practice, I'll go over question number 3 for the speaking and question number 2 for the writing in the exact same way I do with question number 6, except your answers are actually going to be in print, so you can actually see those phrases and study them carefully. Now, all of this information is actually part of my ebook. So the ebook is online, it's on the website, it's practice material, and it actually has 6 full-length speaking and writing practice tests. And every single question on this practice test is actually explained to you in the same way that I explained question number 6. Same way I'll explain these 2 right here. So go ahead, visit the website, notefull.com, check out the free practice, and learn all the information you need to know about these 2 questions to improve your score. And if you really like it, go ahead, check out the online practice. So thanks for watching. Visit when you can.